President, thank you so much for speaking to Bloomberg.
Thank you very much for having me.
The world has a lot of challenges. What is your main challenges for your country and your continent?
I think the two are interlinked. It's basically how we can develop the economies of our country to provide a more dignified standard of living for the mass of our people. That's our main concern, how to develop our economies. We're sitting on all the resources in the world, and yet we are the poorest people on the globe. So how to, as it were, remove that disconnect? That really is a function of leadership in Africa at the moment. That matters as true for Africa as it is true for my country. I give you a simple example. Cote d'Ivoire and ourselves, between us, we produce 60% of the world's output of cocoa. 2015, the returns to us, 2 billion to Ghana, 3.75 billion to Cote d'Ivoire, 5.75 billion amongst us. The global chocolate market is of 100 billion plus. So you're looking at a situation whereby the farmers who produce get something like 5 to 5.5% of the global value chain of their product. Something's not right there, and we need to do something about it.
What can you do? Do you need to renegotiate with the big suppliers, with the makers of chocolate?
I think that we have to perhaps make the chocolate ourselves. We have to find a way of being able to connect the raw material to the finished product, because that is where the value is. And so far, we've been either out of negligence on our part or the difficulties of mobilizing the finance and the technology. We've not been able to do it. I think that this generation of African leaders, these are the issues that we have to look at. We have a globalized trading system that frowns on protectionism, and quite rightly, I think that all of us are in agreement that as a general principle, free trade benefits everybody in it. But you enter the trading system at different levels of it, and how to make sure that we are competitive, that our enterprises, A, can produce the higher value products that the world economy requires, and does so on a competitive basis. These are the challenges before us on the continent and in my country today, and they are the challenges that are exercising my mind the most.
President, I know you want to increase output for cocoa in Ghana. Are you concerned the impact that would have on prices? Because at the same time, you're trying to take care of your farmers.
We want to improve output, largely because it's been declining. But at the same time, we are thinking that we must have a much more collaborative arrangement with Cote d'Ivoire as to our marketing policy, as to how we can develop, in fact, domestic use of the things that we do. I believe that we need a much greater consultation between us and them. I mean, if we are responsible for 60% of the world's output of cocoa, we should have much greater leverage on pricing than we have at the moment. So we're in active discussions. Fortunately for me, at this period in Ghanaian history, when I'm the leader of Ghana, we have a man on the other side in Cote d'Ivoire who's equally sensitive to these issues. So we began to talk in a great deal, to find a way.
President, are you telling me that you would come together with Cote d'Ivoire to try and kind of have a united front in talking about cocoa prices?
I think it's a very good idea. And
they want to? Cote d'Ivoire wants to?
The clear impression that I have from their president is that they do. And at the moment, in fact, both our governments, our cocoa officials, agriculture ministers are in fact in regular contact talking about how best we can develop this common front and common attitude. I think it makes sense.
Could it also be in decreasing output, actually, of cocoa prices,
well,
or limiting?
These are all the matters that I think that if we sit around the table together and we look at, we will be able then to take the more intelligent decisions for both of us in the long run. The worst aspect of all these things is to be atomistic. I think that if you look at your own national, narrow sectional interests, you can lose the bigger picture. And it is that bigger picture that we want to have before us all the time, so that we can make the decisions that will benefit our farmers and benefit our economy.
President, when do you think you'll have a decision on this by, on cocoa?
I don't know. We're talking.
Okay.
We're talking.
Talk to me about the dispute with the Ivory Coast on the ocean and the oil fields. The decision is Saturday?
The decision is on Saturday. We're waiting to see what decision will be made, and we'll see how best we can enforce the ruling of the court.
Let's say you lose, how can you lower the impact? Because this would have huge economic consequences for Ghana.
Yes, it would. It would. But I mean, a lot of work is going on in that way. I would prefer to wait and see what happens on Saturday before I tell the world how we're going to respond.
President, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it.